Nobody else never let me headline. They wouldn't hire me. He was the first guy, him and his wife, that believed in me. They have the best comedy club in the country, the Stardome in Birmingham.
Back in the early 70s and mid 70s, the nightclub business was really going through the roof. There were so many clubs in town. And we had a rock and roll club. Then I changed it to a dance club called Singles. It was Meet Me at Singles. And then I went to Atlanta, and I was going to change the club again to have live entertainment. And I was thinking about a band, and they had just opened up this comedy club there. So I went in there, and I saw it, and I go, that's what we ought to do. So came back, sold the other club, and started the first comedy club. We opened up October 18th, 1983. Okay, so in the beginning, we were above a Chinese restaurant in an Indian motel. Okay, it was the Terror House above KO's Chinese restaurant. It was this long, skinny room, and when I first started, nobody knew what a comedy club was. The only time they saw comedians was on the Ed Sullivan Show. So when we first started, it was really difficult to get the people figuring out what we were doing. In the first couple of months, it was kind of funky. They didn't know, and they didn't relate to, the comics didn't relate to the audience. The guy who's booking a club says, listen, you got to go pick this guy up at the bus station. He's traveling around the country. He's your middle act. So right before he goes on stage the first time, I go, hey, can you do me a favor? I said, there's a friend of mine in the audience. Him and his dad own the Piggly Wiggly stores. Wish him happy birthday. Well, what he does, he gets up on stage and does this whole bit on Piggly Wiggly. Says they're Mr. Piggly and Mr. Wiggly, and the crowd could feel it because it was something they could relate to. They fell in love with this guy. Well, this guy, I think you may know who he is. His name is Sinbad. And Sinbad became our very first star. So Sinbad, he's our star, and things really start rolling. Well, the first club we were in, we knew they were going to knock down the old hotel, so in December 12th, 1985, we moved into a new club that we built on Green Springs Highway. So when we opened up there, Sinbad was our star. We had guys like James Gregory. There was a guy named Ollie Joe Prater that was really funny, but there was really, Sinbad was starting to do movies, so I needed another guy. So there was this guy from Cleveland who was really funny. And I said to him, I said, man, I think you're the next guy. I want you to be a headliner. So we put that guy up on stage, and his first time he ever headlined was at our club. And you might have heard of him, Steve, he's got Steve Harvey. Yeah, that's the guy. So Steve became our next really big star. And a lot of you probably know who Carrot Top is. Carrot Top was just becoming a big star. He was headlining the club for the first time. We were completely sold out for the weekend. This was March 13th, 1993. It's funny, I remember that day. And I'll tell you why.
Be one that will be talked about for a long time. The National Meteorological Center is calling this an unprecedented, life-threatening storm.
And it started snowing, and snowing, and snowing. It was the worst snowstorm ever in the history of Birmingham. So we had to close the club. Well, the next day, the Homewood Fire Department calls me and goes, Bruce, I got bad news and really bad news. I go, what do you mean? Your club's on fire. We can't get there. The club caught fire during the snowstorm, completely burnt down. Almost the whole shopping center burnt down. It was a lightning hit our building, and it was awful. It was absolutely awful. We lost everything. No, the only thing that made it through that fire was a cigarette machine. Carrot Top is a prop comic. All of his stuff was in the club. Thing was, he was supposed to be on the Tonight Show for the very first time on Tuesday. He couldn't do the show because all his stuff got burnt up. So he had to call Jay Leno to tell him that he couldn't do it. So on the Tonight Show, this is what Jay Leno said. Yeah, we're supposed to have that kid Carrot Top, but all the stuff got burnt up in some rinky-dink comedy club. Oh my God, he said that. Then all my friends and everybody who knew us called Jay and said, man, that was a great club. So the next day on my answering machine was this message. Hey Bruce, listen, this is Jay Leno. I'm really sorry about what I said. And if you guys ever reopen, I'll do some local commercials for you. And that's exactly what we did. When we opened the Stardome, the commercial he did, it was Jay Leno on stage. He goes, hey everybody, this is Jay Leno. Bruce Ayers is reopening his club. Please go see him. And he promises he's not going to burn this one down. What inspired us to move forward, we had calls from so many people. Please reopen. If you're going to rebuild the club, we'll come and paint for you. We'll do whatever. The media, other restaurants took care of our employees. I mean, there were so many great things. There was a group called the Entrepreneurs Roundtable, and all of these business guys helped me out to get us to rebuild, to get us going, and that's how we got here. And then they rewarded us by naming us the Small Business of the Year the next year. So that was 1983. So that's 27 years ago. So for the last 27 years, we've been growing the business. There's been so many great comedians that have come through the Stardome. You know, we're really proud of it. This is a family business. It's myself, my wife, and my daughters. We got some employees that have been here for 30 years, and you know, it's just a special place for us.